Welcome to Human Potential at Work, the show where we explore social impact, inclusion, and empowerment of everyone, including persons with disabilities. Your host is Debra, CEO of Rue Global Impact and co-founder and chairwoman of Billion Strong, an identity and empowerment organization designed to bring billions of voices of persons with disabilities together. To join the global community and to donate to the cause, visit billion-strong.org. That's billion-strong.org. And now, on to the episode.
Hello, everyone. My name is Debra Rue, and I'm the CEO of Rue Global Impact, and very proud to be the executive chair and co-founder of Billion Strong. My guest today, some of y'all might recognize, is Dr. LaMondre Pough. I'm such a big fan of his work, and he's actually going to give us an update on Billion Strong because actually there's some really beautiful things happening with the efforts, and we want y'all involved. So I'm going to just start by doing a visual description. I am an older woman with gray hair with purple streaks through it. And today I'm wearing these cute, cute little earrings, green and yellow earrings, and a green dress, a green checkered dress. And very proud that I bought these earrings from a beautiful African-American entrepreneur who I'm going to forget her name, but she's wonderful. So LaMondre, welcome back to the program.
Oh, thank you so much, Deborah. It is always a pleasure to be with you. And I am LaMondre Pough, and I'm going to give a visual description of myself. I am a dark-skinned, bald black man with a full beard. Today, I am wearing, I guess, a cantaloupe-colored shirt, a melon-colored shirt. And behind me, there is a blue light shining on my wall, and I'm in my home office in Columbia, South Carolina. And it's always a pleasure to be with you, Deborah.
I agree. I would add a very handsome man, but
Well,
that probably wouldn't sound right if you did that.
right, I'm
But
handsome.
yeah, right.
I
So
appreciate that.
LaMondre, you have blessed us being on the show before, and so we'll make sure that we add those episodes um, so that people can find it very quickly on rueglobal.com. But um, I really wanted to give the audience a chance to see where we were with Billion Strong. And I want to start by saying that, as a lot of you might remember, we had the idea to start Billion Strong last April 2021. And it just spoke to all of our hearts. And LaMondre agreed to be the CEO and lead us all forward. It's a huge, huge thing. The company has not been funded yet, and we were quite a bit delayed because, sadly, my family was walking with my beautiful husband to his death. And so that appropriately slowed me way down for a good 6-7 months. And so now, as they say, I've got back on the horse, and we're here to support LaMondre. I really, with all my soul, believe that Billion Strong is needed so that we can come together in this month of Disability Pride Month, which, by the way, has been around for 32 years. And yet most people don't know that there's a Disability Pride Month. And so we really do want to come together with pride and identity. And as I was saying early on, I think it's so important that we make sure that society understands what we bring to the table. But LaMondre said, yeah, I agree. But also I worry about what we think of ourselves. And so, LaMondre, let me turn it over to you and talk about your vision that you had it, for Billion Strong. Has it shifted based on the work you've been doing? I know you have been working so many long hours. And as you're working these ridiculous hours and traveling around speaking, you also need around the clock, you need caregivers. It's part of your life.
Right.
And the issues that you and others have had to deal with caregivers just continues to remind us why we need Billion Strong so bad. So let me give you the camera and the microphone.
Absolutely. And again, thank you. Thank you for this platform, and thank you for doing the work that you do. And also, I want to express again just how much you and your family mean to us as a Billion Strong team, but also to me as an individual. As you walked the walk you did, you and your family, um, with Ed making his transition, your beautiful husband. Um, it affected and impacted all of us. And it was not a slowdown. It was not anything like that. What that was people caring for people and understanding that the work that we do is about life. It is about our human experience. And so it was simply a part of what family does for a family. So that's
Well
what
said.
this is. So I want to give just a little bit of background about what Billion Strong is for those who may be watching this for the first time. So Billion Strong is a global identity organization, a nonprofit organization by and for people with disabilities. Our goal is really simple. It is to unite, empower, and elevate the global community of people with disabilities. Our mission really boils down to something very simple. It's empowerment through connection. Who are we connecting? We are connecting people with disabilities to each other in the community. We're connecting people with companies. We're connecting people with government and other nonprofit organizations that all work in the support of people with disabilities or in the support of humanity as a whole. And we really focus on identity. As Deborah mentioned before, that identity is not just about how the world sees you, but it's also about how you see yourself. And Deborah made the mention, of what society thinks that people with disabilities bring to the table. Where our focus is not only that, but it is also about what we believe we bring to the table, or even if we feel like we deserve a place at the table, because so often many people with disabilities feel um, as if they're on the fringe, as if they're on the outside, when the truth is, if there is a table that society sits at, we have a place as well. In fact, every place that people are, we are as well, because we're people. And disability knows no economic status, it knows no social caste system, it knows none of that. It's everywhere. And the fact is, I'm very proud of who I am. And so this month, July being Disability Pride Month, we want to take some time and celebrate that. In fact, we celebrate we celebrate pride in being people with disabilities 365 days a year, including a leap year. So this is who we are, and this is what we want to do is to really help build a positive disability identity throughout the world and unite the community so we can impact a positive change.
Oh, so well said. But one time I was asked, and I've probably mentioned this on air, but I was asked when I was speaking, "What's the biggest problem that you have? If what's the biggest problem you have in the community of people with disabilities?" And so, of course, you ask that question, you're going to get a whole bunch of different.
The different
But
answers.
my answer was this. My answer was, well, I look out through this audience because I can see, and I know a lot of you are part of my community. I identify as a person with a disability because I'm neurodiverse and I have ADHD. And anybody that knows me knows that's true because I am a chatterbox. I just, but at the same time, what I said to the audience was nobody wants to be part of our community. People don't realize they're even part of our community. So, and our community is considered broken.
Right.
And so nobody wants to join us. Okay. So that is certainly a huge issue, but also, LaMondre, you are actually trying to bring together the whole community. Not just people with wheelchairs, not people that are all of us, but about 80% of us have invisible
Hmm.
disabilities. So, and once again, many people don't even know that legislatively, according to the legal definitions of the Americans with Disabilities Act or the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, CRPD, if you look at the legal definitions they have in there of what disability is, I fall right in there. And it makes a lot of sense to me being diagnosed in my 50s with ADHD. I understand myself better. But how do you do that? And also, LaMondre, that also includes mental health issues, which
Absolutely.
seems to me if you're a human being, you're gonna experience some mental health issues. Anybody go through the pandemic or COVID-19? I know yesterday, LaMondre, you attended another funeral.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that you bring up an interesting point, of people not only identifying, but even understanding what disability is. Once we actually started this work, I started having a bunch of conversations about the definition in itself. And honestly, I still have not come up with one that fits right and feels right for me, personally. But what I have realized is that the community is broad. The community is exceptionally broad. And it's not just if you have a physical or cognitive or mental health issues. It's not just that, but it can also include those who care for and love family members, allies, all of those. Those people are a part of our community as well. And when we hear things like the World Health Organization putting a figure of 1.3 billion, and that's their figure, that's the World Health Organization's figure, that there are 1.3 billion people on the planet with some form of disability, we recognize that that number is woefully inadequate, um, when you consider how broad the definition is and how many people are actually impacted by disability. So, our goal really, is not to just silo people off and put them into boxes. Our scope really, our view really is to embrace all of who we are in the community, because the ultimate thing here is to impact positive change, not just for the community of people with disabilities, but to make the world a better place. And and even if we just stuck with the 1.3 billion number that the World Health Organization put out there, the truth is that's a huge block of people. Imagine the kind of
mm,
power we could have if we came together and spoke unified. Imagine what we could accomplish if we really began to move as if we really began to move in solidarity. And that's what this is about. This is how we move forward. So it's not about, physical disabilities or intellectual disabilities or mental health. It's not just about that. It's about all of us, and recognizing that there is no hierarchy, that one is not more important than the other, that one is more precious than the other. Because disability in itself is neither negative or positive. It is simply a state of diversity. It is a
mm.
point of difference in our lives. And so we can either choose to celebrate that difference, or we can choose to do something else with that. But I choose to celebrate. I choose to.
I agree. I agree. And at a time when we're ripping apart the world and blowing everything up and burning everything down, sorry, that's just what it seems like to me sometimes. I think this is an opportunity for us to do things better,
Yes.
to do things differently. I was speaking to a really large metaverse group the other day, and they do a lot of metaverses for service for military and stuff.
Mhm.
And I was saying you need to make sure that it's totally designed for humans. And he's like, well, in the military, people with disabilities wouldn't be in here. And I was like, he said, you're just talking about 508, which is the law, the number of the law. And I said, "Nope, not talking about 508." He's like, "Well, you're not?" I said, "No, I'm not talking about compliance and
Right.
litigation. I'm not. I am talking about why are we going to design any technology, any information technology and communications that's not accessible, like a bell shape?
Right.
Because what happens with the bell shape is some of us were never on that bell shape. We were never on the top. Um, and if you are living, you're gonna fall down the sides. And when I said that to him, and I said, and the reality is there are so many service people impacted by disabilities. And for us to be stop thinking society doesn't even know what it means. They just think if you have a disability, you're in a wheelchair, maybe use a cane, maybe there's a dog. As you said, Lamondre, society doesn't even understand what these terms
Right.
are.
Right. And I'll tell you, the example that you gave of the person that you were talking to so many times when topics like this come up, it automatically goes to regulation, it automatically goes to law, it automatically goes to policy. When the truth is, those things are certainly tools to use to make certain that people have access, but that's not what this work is about. That's not what we're doing. What we're really doing is talking about, hey, I'm human. You're human. Can we have just some dignity, some general respect, some general access for us, for all of us, for us to do the human thing, which is be human. That's what this is. So
I
again, regulations, policies, all those kinds of things are tools, but the spirit behind those things are to include. The spirit behind those things are to make certain that people have the opportunity to live out their potential, that people have the opportunity to participate in society equally, that people have the opportunity to move forward. And that's what this is about. So, we often hear when you say disability, people say ADA, or they say, the
yeah,
UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, or 508, or blah, 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 504, all this kind of stuff. And it's almost like, but really, can we just have a cup of coffee, or can we have a burger,
right.
or can I meet you at the restaurant, or can I come to your home, or do you want to come to my home? That's what it's really about. So I'm glad that you helped to humanize the experience with that, because that's what you did. That's what you did in that conversation. And that's what Being Strong is about. Being Strong really is about exploring the whole of our personhood, exploring the whole of our humanity without siloing a piece of it, disability, off and saying, oh, that's special. That should be set aside. That's not something that we can talk about if we're talking about environment. That's not something we can talk about if we're talking about commerce. That's not something we need to talk about. No, 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 no. The truth is, if I'm talking about the environment, if I'm talking about commerce, if I'm talking about entertainment, if I show up, disability shows up as well. And I can still be a beast in commerce. I can still be a beast in entertainment. I can still excel in all of those things and be a person with a disability without having to say, that's special. You're special. Even though my mama did tell me I was special ever since I was a child, the truth is I'm a regular guy, just like everybody else. So
I think you're special too, but sorry. But not in the way I remember my daughter saying to me, "Stop telling people I have Down syndrome, mom. I don't." And I was sort of sad by that. I'm like, "But honey, it's cool to have Down syndrome, but I can say all kind of things. Moms can say all kind of things, but you're my mom. So hopefully you're saying nice things. Not all moms do,
right,
but you know, you love me, mom. So you don't can't
right.
because you love me no matter what." So it I realized that I did not, again, have a good response to my daughter who was teaching me. So I just think identity, it is just so important right now. It's just so important. But what I'd like to talk about is, so what have you accomplished at Billion Strong? Once again, it's a new nonprofit. There's so many moving
There
parts,
are.
but let's talk about the things that we've definitely
Right. And
accomplished.
this is definitely a we thing. This is a group effort. This is a team effort. In fact, my role as the CEO is to serve the people who are doing the work. That's how I see it. That's how I view it. That's how I approach it. And we have some really amazing things happening. I pause for a second just because I'm thinking through the things that
Yeah, I've
that
been
we've
there.
done. And let me start by saying this. Sometimes you have to slow down a little bit in order to really get a take of the landscape and see what kind of impact you're having, to see where you want to have impact, and you bring this how you bring this along. One of the things that we came out with, that we said from the very beginning, of Billion Strong, is that we really wanted to connect people. We really wanted to bring people together from a global perspective and not just in the US or in the UK or anything like that, but to bring people together. And because we can't know everything that's going on all the time and we don't know everything that's happening in every country, the way that we wanted to do that was to connect with country partners throughout the world. And obviously, it would be in countries where everybody's familiar with in terms of the work that's being done, but also in areas where we're not so familiar with. As of right now, we have over 85 country partners with us. And I will tell you even this, and of course, the US and Central America and the UK and Australia and places like that. But we've also got 18 countries in Africa. We've got countries and regions and places that are typically not seen or not heard from very much in this kind of a conversation. So our goal is also, and this is what we've been doing, has been to reach into areas that are typically not served at all or underserved and find out what's happening there. That's one of the things that I'm most proud of. But we've also said that we wanted to do things that supported creatives with disabilities as well. So recently, we just started a project where we're working with photographers who have disabilities. And the truth is, we're looking at expanding this out. And what's funny about that, and Deborah, I cannot for anything pronounce the name of the organization, but I know you'll help me with it. It's NWN Photography. Is that it? Was that the name of it? I can't remember exactly what it was. Deborah, what was the name of it? Up, I can't hear you. I can't hear anything. Another thing that we at Billion Strong wanted to do from the very beginning was to support creatives and artists with disabilities. And so we're now working with an organization called Knows Why Not and curating uh, photographs from photographers with disabilities. And we're looking at making this global. So those are just two of the things that we're doing right now in terms of programming and moving things forward. But we've also been working with our partners as well. And it's amazing the number of people that want to step up and really do something with that. And one of them is Catherine McCary. She's actually over the Disability in DC Metro chapter and has just been amazing in terms of supporting Billion Strong and the work that we're doing, helping to get the word out. And honestly, she's also been working as really as a mentor to me personally, because she's a person who's been in leadership for quite some time and has had some significant impact in the disability community. And she's committed to this. And I am so thankful and so grateful for her spending the time with me and with our organization, just trying to get the message out and opening doors and helping us through her platform to do that. And as I said before, sometimes you have to go backwards to move forward. One of the things that we've been doing is we've really been working a lot on our board and with our board. And we've got some really, really incredible people who have committed to serve on the Billion Strong board. And honestly, we're about to release all of that information, and we've been working feverishly to get that together. And so even now, we're looking at getting donations. We're looking at just putting it out there what we need in order to make this work, in order to make this work fruitful. So it's really been amazing the way that things are going. And I will tell you, our executive board really has been putting their shoulders to the wheels to help make that happen. Because I, as the CEO, I am charged with carrying it out, executing the vision. But it's their job to really come up with that vision and say, hey, this is the direction we're going in. And I'll tell you, they're doing a wonderful job at that.
Oh, they are. It's amazing who you have on your board. And there are 18 people on the board, and somebody said, you can't have that many people on a
It's a
board. That
big
won't work.
board. It's a big
But
board.
we're a global population. And so when we selected the board members, we select them from all over the world. They all have different disabilities. A couple of them don't have disabilities, but they have lived experience with family members with disabilities. And it's just so beautiful. So, because we're such a big audience, it's almost like we had to do that. But I know you also have many country partners, and I believe we're about to 87 countries, and we
Right.
want more country. We want representation in every country, disability persons organizations, and we also want representation in every single state in the United States. Now, both LaMondre and I are here in the beautiful United States, but the times of our country are giving us all, a lot of stress these days.
Right.
And I think what we are understanding here in the States is that we are the United States. And so it's about states' rights. And so now we see our federal government making decisions, and I'm not going to go there, where, but we remind ourselves it's states. So if you're in a state that's more caring, and once again, I can see myself going into trouble. I don't want to get in trouble, but I do want to do a major shout out for Google. And I'll also make a shout out for Paul Pullman. Paul Pullman, former CEO of Unilever, an amazing, talented man. He wrote an article that said, CEOs, side with your employees, not politicians. And I thought it was beautiful. And then we recently made some changes in our Supreme Court, Supreme Court decisions that I, as a woman, I'm not happy with. I'm sure Lamondre, you are not happy with. But what Google did was they said to their employees, now remember, they have a lot of employees all over the world. They said, if you live in a state that does not meet your medical needs, we will relocate you. No questions asked, whether you're a man or a woman. That is a CEO standing with his employees. Now, our legislators, our governors, our mayors, they need to understand that these corporations are starting to figure out they need to they need to be there for their people, Lamondre. They need to care about their people, their employees. And so it's interesting, but that's also something what we're very committed to make sure that every state is represented, not just the United States or not just like the EU. No, we
Right.
want all countries in the EU. Just like we're proud to have people in the UAE, but there are 7 territories in the UAE. So we're very committed to going in a little deeper too. So just making that point. But
Absolutely, and I want to say this.
okay.
I think that it's so important that we recognize the fact that just like Google made the decision that, hey, if you're living in a place that's not meeting your needs, we will relocate you to a place that will. Is that these voices are going to be heard. These
Mm,
voices are out there. And a part of what Billion Strong wants to do, and again, remember I said the whole of the human experience, the whole of our
mm,
personhood, these are the conversations that we have to be a part of as well. Now, I'm not here to tell anybody what to think or how to think. I'm just saying think about this and voice your perspective because it matters. It absolutely matters. And so that's what this is about. And one of the ways that we're looking at this is by partnering with organizations that may specialize in areas that we don't. For example, we're currently working on a project with the group Younga. And what we've done is we are looking at gathering participants with disabilities that are youth, that are young people. Now, ask me what the definition of a youth is. I have no clue. I was almost 40 years old singing on a youth choir, okay?
right.
But we're looking for youth. And the idea behind this, and this is something that Younga is doing, is connecting young people with decision makers. Not so that the decision maker can tell them what decisions to make, but so they can come together and figure out a path forward. And we actually and also in this, we're actually looking at doing advocacy training to help young people learn how to stand up for themselves and how to voice their opinions and make change happen. And actually, we've got about 15 slots left for
Mm.
this. So if you or a young person you know want to learn more about it, go to our website, billion-strong.org, look up the Younger program on our website and sign up if you're interested in it. And the turnaround time is kind of short. We've got until July 18th, I believe it is,
Right. Right.
to sign up and get it in there. But these are the kinds of things that we're doing. So we're not just looking at focusing on disability issues, but human issues, but making certain that people with disabilities are at the table, that we're a
Right.
part of the conversation, not because of our disability, but because we're humans and
Right.
we have a place as well. And so these are the kinds of things that we're doing. These are the kinds of conversations that we need to have a part of and weigh in on.
I agree. And I will tell you that the United Nations has decided that youth are 35 years and younger. And so I remember when I was a kid, you were old at 35. I remember this conversation about actresses being old at 35, and I'm like, what? So
Right.
my daughter is 35. So I'm not old. I
Ah,
don't look old, but, I think we need I remember my son used to have a roommate that was 19, and I said, "God, he acts like an old man, Kevin." So people can be old at any age,
oh,
but
absolutely.
young
Absolutely.
spirit. But another thing that we wanna talk about, and I'll start it, because I didn't mention this to you before, but also, once again, Billion Strong does not want to duplicate what others are doing. We don't.
Right.
What we want to do is we want to work with our community and our partners and highlight the amazing things and partner when it possible. And so, two exciting projects, and I'll let you talk. I'll introduce and then let you talk about Lamondre. But certainly is Purple Light Up with My Purple Space that
Absolutely.
happens every year on the day, the International Day of People with Disabilities, and I'm gonna let you talk about that, Lamondre, but Billion Strong is very, very committed to this. But at the same time, one of our other country partners, Enable India, has worked with another partner, Zero Project, which I'm an ambassador with, and they've come up with the Discovery Awards, and they've asked Billion Strong and all of our partners at Billion Strong to join their efforts. And they gave what they did was they did this in India first, and they sent they ask people with disabilities, and their families to send in stories about how they accommodated themselves in some way. And so an example he gave that I just loved was one of them that they had so many beautiful stories come in, but now they want to make it global. So one of the examples he gave was there was a young person in India that could not write because they could not hold the pencil. And so they put a potato in this young man's hand and they stuck the pencil through it. So he was able to write. And then his fingers and his hand got stronger because he was using them. And then they started moving it to smaller potatoes till he eventually was able to write without any potato at all. Now that is brilliant. That is innovation. And so, Lamondre, I want you to talk about why you were joining these efforts and making sure that Billion Strong are included. But one more point about Younga. We love Younga. And when they heard about Billion Strong, they said, please, please, we do not think we're doing a good job of including young people with disabilities. Will you please be our partner so that you can make sure this audience is coming in? So just wanted to say
Absolutely.
that.
And right there on that point right there, we are not in the business of duplicating what's already been done. We're not in the business of competing
Mm,
with other organizations that are out there doing it. What we are in the business of is connecting people, connecting organizations, connecting efforts that could complement each other. Remember what I said, our mission, you can boil it down to this: empowerment through connection. And that's what we're doing. So we act more like an amplifier or a megaphone, to really put that out there, to talk about the good work that other people are doing, or either to shine a light on challenges that other areas that people are facing, and bringing together people that could perhaps help overcome those challenges. And so that's what this really is about. And even as we talk about these other projects and these other things that are going on with Enable India, with Younga, with Purple Light Up, the truth is, all of this is in an effort to better the condition of people with disabilities around the world so that we can make the world a better place. I remember last year when we helped to promote Purple Light Up, I think it was on December the 3rd. Um,
Mhm.
the response was amazing. And the truth is, there were a number of people who in many instances you would just assume, "Oh, yeah, they know about this. They know about this." Had no idea. Had no idea about it. So our job here is to help amplify that and support them in their efforts, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So we're excited about working with the beautiful folks over at Purple Light Up, and to continue to push that out there. And that is the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, so this is the kind of thing that we're looking at doing. These are the projects that we're involved in. And the ultimate goal of this is to have impact, is to amplify the impact that's already being had, to help those personal stories of tragedy and challenge become stories of triumph, become stories of how how things are better now because of the involvement of these organizations and because of the involvement of Billion Strong to helping amplify that message. So this is
Well,
what we're about. This is what we're doing.
yeah, and just shout out another partner. We're working with Connect Aid, which is trying to bring everybody together, and so there is a lot happening. We do have a newsletter that we send out, and our newsletters are becoming way, way, way too long and big because, yeah, we have a lot to talk
It's
about.
a lot going on.
Yeah, but I will say, I wanna say 2 things. First of all, I have people reach out to me all the time that say, "I wanna do what you're doing." And I don't wanna say to them, "Okay, I hope you're prepared to starve to death." So because, the reality is people don't wanna fund this work. So and that's never stopped me. But that's okay, just saying, and we're going to definitely change this because 'cause we're also working, on an impact fund with one of our partners. So but when we hear of something good happening, we say, "Hey, how can we help? How can we turn up the volume? How can we bring more of our community into it?" Like, just for example, the Yunga. I am so excited about the young people that have already agreed to be part of it
Yeah.
because they're coming from all over the world. I love
Yes.
it. So that's very excited. And also my daughter, who has Down syndrome, she's one of them. So that's exciting. But what, what I want to talk about funding. I want to talk about funding, but because I'm going to be honest, what we have not done yet, even though we have many corporations wanting to support us, Billion Strong has not yet asked anybody to give us money. We've applied for some grants and we won that one grant by a wonderful LinkedIn. God bless them for helping us. But the reason why we need the money, but this is an identity organization and we want corporations to help us. We want everybody to help us, but this is for and by the community. So, one thing I said to LaMondre, I don't want to just go and we will ask corporations to come in and join us and help, but they seem to be the only ones that are ever asked for money, right? So it's like instead, I want our community to build this, LaMondre. I mean, if just think if everybody gave $1, even $1, a peso, one, yen, one, it would change things because we are a billion strong. We know we're a billion strong, LaMondre, but we should help each other. So how can the community get behind what you're trying to do, Lamondre? I mean, we all have a role to play. Yesterday, we were having an executive call, and as I was listening to Ali Ingersoll, who is your treasurer, no, she's
She's
the
a
secretary.
secretary. Yeah.
Thank you. And then Dan Healy, who is amazingly talented. And one thing that he has done, he's built a business that teaches nonprofits to do all of their financial and their fiduciary responsibilities in a way that protects them, it prevents embezzlement and all this. That is who is on the board. I mean, people that really, really want to make a difference. But it but at the same time, it gave me hope as I was listening to all the ideas Ali had and Dan was doing. And I thought, Deborah, I kept reminding myself, you're not doing this alone.
Right.
not doing this alone, as you said, Lamondre, but it really would help us if you believe in this to please go to the website www.billion-strong.org and sign up for the free movement. And if you want to be an advisor, please sign up. If you want to be an advisor or country partner, let us know. But also, what would happen if our community came together and funded Billion Strong? If we each gave what we could, and then we bought from each other, and we employed each other, and we supported our entrepreneurs with disabilities. I know another thing Lamondre's talked about doing is creating a certification for entrepreneurs with disabilities, which, by the way, I created that with another organization who I won't mention, and they sell their list. We're not selling the list. If you become certified, we are going to proudly put it out there who you are, what you do, and we're going to encourage corporations to make sure that we are included in their supply chain as well. So let me hush and give the mic back to you.
Yeah, here's the deal. In terms of in terms of what it is that we need, the very same things that you just said. Go to the website, volunteer, sign up to be a country partner. All of those kinds of things. Make a donation. Give what you can. Why? Because this is about making an impact. This is about making an impact in people's lives. When we think about the young people with this partnership with Younger, we're talking about young people who otherwise would have not had the opportunity to become trained advocates, to become trained to let their voices be heard from a global perspective with decision makers. That's impact. That's changing someone's life. When we talk about some of the engagements that I've done and some of the trainings that we do, teaching people in Kenya about accessibility in terms of libraries, especially relate as it relates to women. That's powerful. Why is that powerful? Because it now changes the trajectory of people's lives. This is about having impact. So if you want to do something that really has an impact in the world, donate to Billion Strong. Volunteer with Billion Strong. Why? Because we're having a global impact in the lives of individuals with disabilities around the globe. This kind of training does not come by every day, and and not only does it not come by every day, even less to people with disabilities who may live in countries where disability is not really talked about. They now have the opportunity to participate. So if you want to have that kind of impact, if you want to know that you're changing this world and making it a better place, go to our website, billion-strong.org. That's billion-strong.org. Make a donation, sign up for the movement, and put your shoulders to the wheel. That's it.
Yes. And I will also say another thing we love is we love short little videos that tell us why you're billion strong. We love posts, we love articles, and we're getting people writing for us and saying, "Hey, can I do this?" Absolutely. So there's going to be so many beautiful opportunities. It's so much is happening, and we are very excited. And I am I'm just very grateful that Lamondre was willing to do this because it is a huge job we've asked him to do. Okay, Lamondre, why don't you get everybody together all over the world? They don't even know they're part of our community. You do it. So nobody's better qualified. Nobody's been better trained. I think God has been training Lamondre for this position. And I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what we all do together, but I do know we're stronger together. And that's why I'm so proud to be Lamondre's friend, a mentor to him, but he's also a mentor to me.
Absolutely.
And it is www.billion-strong.org. And I will just say one more thing, Lamondre, so you can have the last word before we go. But sometimes people will say to me, well, I think that's already being done. And I'm like, there's a lot of beautiful things being done, but there is not a global effort for identity. There's not a global effort to make sure that we are proud, that we identify as individuals with lived experiences with disabilities. No, there is not. No, it's very siloed and very broken up. And so that's one reason why we had so much early success as we started building this. But Lamondre, let me give you the last words.
Absolutely. Sometimes I quiver a bit thinking about the size of the work that we're doing. When I think about the enormity of it in terms of the workload in itself, but then I start to think about the impact that the work has, and the impact far outweighs the lift. The impact far outweighs what it takes to get that impact. So we are committed to it, and it's not me. It's not a LaMondre thing. It's not a Debra thing. It's not a board thing. It is a we thing. It is us. It is the aggregate of our efforts coming together that makes the difference. And I will tell you this: there are a lot of folks that say, "Hasn't it been done?" or "You can't do that," or "Did somebody else do that?" And the answer to those questions is, it has not been done before. Yes, it is hard, but yes, it can be done. And anybody who wants to do it, come with us.
Yes,
Come with
please.
us. Let's do this for it. And so much of it seems illogical. So much of it seems like that doesn't make sense. You know why it doesn't make sense? Because it hasn't been done before. But watch this. Watch how this illogical thing becomes the way forward. Watch how this illogical thing begins to make sense once it's done and you see it. Then it made perfect sense. Why hasn't anybody done this before? It's not easy. It's not easy, but it's possible and it's worth it. And so come along. Come along on this illogical journey. Come along on this thing that's hard. And let's impact the world in a positive way. Billion-strong.org. That's billion-strong.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
You've been listening to Human Potential at Work. To learn more about Rue Global Impact, visit rueglobal.com. And to learn more about Billion Strong, an identity and empowerment organization designed to bring the billions of voices of persons with disabilities together, you can join the global community and donate at billion-strong.org. That's billion-strong.org.